Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to dedicate this speech to my late parents, Zeblon Vilakazi, and my mother, Zeblon Zenzele Vilakazi. And our beloved Kamo, I'm sure that Kamzaza would be brimming, who's forever young, at this occasion with pride. I'd like to thank you all for joining us on this occasion as I symbolically take on the position of Vice-Chancellor and Principal of this august national asset, that is the University of the Witwatersrand. There will be some who may ask, why are we holding this ceremony in the middle of a pandemic against the challenges and backdrop that has played itself out on the streets recently? However, I would hover and say that the installation of the Vice-Chancellor is a significant event in the life of a university. Of course, not for the pomp and ceremony, pomp and circumstance, but for institutionalism, dignity, deportment, and respect for society, for knowledge, and for wisdom. In times of disruptions, we need strong institutions that will remain steadfast and not buckle in the face of challenges. Indeed, we remain strong at the height of apartheid. We remain strong during our transition to democracy. And we will remain strong through the challenges and vicissitudes we face today, just as we have done in the past. This university will endure for the next 1,000 years, I promise you, and it starts now. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge my predecessors. I've referred to both Professor Nonga and Professor Habib, who have been custodians of this institutional strength over the past 99 years. I'd like to thank Professor Habib, with whom I've worked over the past 7 years, and I do appreciate the carefully managed handover during the last 6 months of his tenure. I think this has allowed for a seamless, I do believe, exemplary transition and respect for institutional honor, and bring hope to people to respect the honor and dignity of such national and continental and global treasures. Before I continue, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to reflect on the devastating fire that struck our sister university and my former intellectual heimat, hometown, the University of Cape Town, last week. Universities are treasure troves of knowledge that need to be protected. As we saw last week, this knowledge can be gone in a flash, but it can also be eroded over time if not carefully curated, valued, guarded, and strengthened. It can decay over time as well. It is why the strength of our public universities, such as universities, is crucially important for national development. UCT, like Wits, has survived many challenges due to its institutional strength and global excellence. I'd like to convey, on behalf of the entire university community, our support as they rebuild, and they will, like a phoenix, rise again. Wits is home to more than 35,000 to 38,000 students from diverse backgrounds, but with a common goal of becoming successful graduates of our university. The backbone of our university is in the nearly 6,000 committed teaching, research, professional, and administrative staff who will ensure that Wits remains at the leading edge of academic and intellectual excellence. We host the largest number of centers, prestigious national centers of excellence in the country, and in excess of prestigious South African National Research Foundation and Department of Science and Innovation chairs. Just a bit about statistics, just to bore you with detail. We've recently been ranked number 12 in the Times Higher Education Emerging Market Universities. That represents universities those that know geography, east of the Danube and south of the Rio Grande. That is basically Eastern European University, down to Asia, excluding Japan and South Korea, and the rest of Latin America. A mean feat indeed. That we're talking about more than 200 countries here. Again, in the last year's ranking, by the prestigious Shanghai ranking, Wits was ranked number 1 on the continent. That broadly puts the university among the top 200 in global research rankings or thereabouts. Let's put this in comparison with our peers in the global north. We would be among the top 60 in the entire European Union, made of more than 300 million people and one of the wealthiest regions in the world. We would be among the top 10 in both Canada and the United States. And it's a university that is right here in the heart of Johannesburg. And that is something we should treasure and be proud of and preserve for generations to come. Given that actually some of our competitors in the global north have had several hundred years of history behind them, Madam Chancellor, distinguished colleagues and Chair, take note of the fact that what we've achieved over the last 99 years is remarkable. When other universities have had more than 1,000 years even to build their history, a runway of 1,000 years. And we are still warming up. I do believe, as the Chair said, the best is yet to come. You ain't seen nothing yet. I provide you with all these statistics to demonstrate what we've achieved as an institution in the past and the solid foundations we have laid to build for our future. I think it is indeed time to defy gravity and shoot for the moon and beyond. Like many others, I was shaped by this university as the chair offered, and I wouldn't be standing here today were it not for the values this august institution instilled in me. We have helped shape global leaders, some of whom are now at the forefront of academic and scientific excellence in response to the pandemic, and some are in the podium here. We are proud of our alma mater, who include some others, 4 Nobel Prize winners, and Nelson Mandela, one of the world's greatest leaders, is among them. The university has been ranked among the top 100 universities for educating CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, and produced one of the highest number of business leaders in the country. It is now my duty and privilege to lead this great institution through its next chapter. From the outset, I cannot ignore the fact that I am taking this position amidst the pandemic that we have not seen in over a century. Our world has fundamentally altered. However, I would say that with every challenge comes an opportunity to reimagine and rethink how we conduct our business. This university has shown over the decades that we can respond to challenges with innovative ideas and solutions. This can be either in deep-level mining, public health, or addressing inequalities and issues of migration. We have always and will continue to aspire for the better future. This pandemic provides the university and the world with an opportunity to reimagine our future. The higher education landscape, as the Minister said, is rapidly changing. We need to move with the times while remaining true to our core academic business of producing the next generation of leaders and knowledge that will have an impact on society. We need to be ready to adapt and embrace change in order to stay ahead of the curve. I do not speak of a bold vision for university naively, because I know that there are other challenges that you must deal with. But today's challenges, distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, require a bold vision and the institutional ability to deliver meaningful outcomes. I believe that this university is ideally suited for this mission. It's a mission-critical assignment to catapult this country and this continent into the innovation age. All my life, I've been inspired by great visionary leaders of prescience who can see into the future. I'll say that I'm going to bore you with the moon speech now. One of the most boldest and most daring visions was articulated by Jeff Kennedy in 1962 when he said, I'll quote, and this is very, very important because I think it sets the context of the rest of my narrative. He said, we choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our abilities and skills. Because that challenge is one we are willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win, and others too. This speech was important, a close quote, this speech was important not only for the vision, but for the other things he referred to. Let's not forget that for the baby boomers among you, that during that decade, America was going through internal convulsions with the hippie movement, the culture wars, counterculture, civil rights movement, the 4 assassinations, one of whom actually he fell victim to. However, by the time Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed on the moon, and I had to mention that guided orbiting was making sure that they arrived safely, was a gentleman, Commander Collins, who also passed on today. Right? When Aldrin and Armstrong landed on the moon, uttered those immortal words and took giant steps, America had seen the year before the escalation of the Vietnam War. You've seen Full Metal Jacket and Platoon. That was a Tet Offensive that brought this conflict away from a zone in the East Pacific to the screens of Americans, college campuses, and to their television scenes. Even one famous announcer said, this war is unwinnable. But it never stopped the mission-critical assignment of landing men on the moon. What actually came out of that vision is something we take for granted here. This goal ushered the world's first integrated computer that was used for guidance, navigation, and docking, and landing and safe return to Earth. At the time, computers used to fill almost the entire room, but they were forced by technology to actually adapt and miniaturize that computer. And nowadays, we have those computers in our laptops, our devices. So it was indeed a genuine moonshot, with one of the engineers explaining that the Apollo mission is like hitting the tennis ball over the roof and hope it lands where you planned. That's what the moonshot is all about. It's a leap of faith and a goal. But now look at where we are. 50 years later, just recently, NASA landed Perseverance on Mars, which is now sending us daily updates on this exploration of the Martian surface. However, back to Earth. Today's world seems to be polarizing and facing unprecedented challenges of division, racial divisions, class division, and health and inequality. It needs brave, principled, and formidable graduates from our institution and others to meet these challenges. We need to explore and navigate the future, guided by the compasses of what I believe are my personal non-negotiables: reason, factfulness, and deep thought. Shallow thinking cannot help us solve problems of the future. Anecdotes and deep and weak thought is intolerable in a place of reason and thought. We need to be grounded in principles of strong ethics and civic responsibility. Indeed, it looks like, given the world we find ourselves in the state of the nation, it might look like a moonshot. But you don't have a vision in a moment of euphoria. You do so because what you're articulating is just as important as the challenges. I'm not sitting here dreaming like a madman, but these are the realities. Yet, we need to focus on the main goal. Over the next few years, the university, as was mentioned by the minister and the chair and other speakers, will have to contend with the challenges of funding, sustainability, adapting to the changing nature of skills in the workplace, addressing the digital divide, and other divides that have been exacerbated by the pandemic. We, as an institution, are embedded in society. We are hit by all the winds that buffet society. These challenges must not hold us back from aspiring for a better future. Rather, they should propel us forward to achieve the goals we've set for ourselves. Moonshots combined with perseverance will open up a new universe of possibilities. This is our moonshot moment, colleagues. It's time for perseverance. We do not commit to these big ideas because they're impossible or moonshine, but it requires us as a community, in this university, in this city, in this country, and on this continent to aspire to what we can achieve. At the heart of this vision is the intellectual project, which is based on academic excellence. To shape our future, we need to draw on our past, both in its imperfections and excellence. We should address the challenges of inequality that are right on our doorstep and draw inspiration from the role we've played in fostering innovative solutions to the challenges we face. Now, here's a story of one of the greatest universities on the continent. 2 years after its birth, a young scholar by the name of Raymond Dart at Wits took on the dominant powers of the North in the study of human evolution, which the minister alluded to, and prevailed purely with the strength of an idea whose time had come, the strength of a story of humanity, as told by the Taung child, and that the story shifted the locus of human evolution elsewhere, right on the savanna grassland of the Highveld. That was Wits 2 years after its birth. It made its mark felt in the global academy. It will continue to punch above its weight. We've always been ahead of the curve. This university played a key role in the development of the radar in the 1940s during wartime. We were the first university in the country to acquire a nuclear accelerator and build a mainframe IBM computer. This university played a key role in the formation of leading civil society organizations, such as the Treatment Action Campaign, which came out of the AIDS Law Project of the Center for Applied Legal Studies. It is this rich history we should be proud of and leverage as an inspiration for a brighter future. Over the past few months, I've had the opportunity of engaging with students, staff, and alumni on the future of Wits. I've been inspired by the support I've received for our vision. I want to reiterate that this is our vision, because no vision can be achieved without the collective buy-in of all those who need to make it happen. The support from the Wits community for our moonshot movement and the ideas that have been put forward to make this vision a reality have been overwhelming. I've listened to and read all the comments and ideas you have sent to me over the past few months. And I appreciate the thought and the consideration you have put into this, on how we can achieve this together. Based on these conversations, there are 3 core areas that we will focus on as Wits transitions into its next century. Continue developing excellent graduates who leave a mark on society in the tradition of Madiba and many others, conducting world-class research, and fostering innovation. We need to use our economic heartland, our location in the economic heartland of Africa, to lead from the global south. These 3 pillars will need to be underpinned by a renewed commitment to the core principles of what Wits is all about in terms of our values. Producing excellent graduates is at the core of our business. The next generation of leaders, not for just our country, but for the continent and the world, will one day walk across this stage at their graduation. But this does not start and end once students enter the gates of Yale Road or Jefferson Street. It starts with supporting, as the minister said, those learners and inspiring them to come to this great university, and in ensuring that every talented kid elsewhere in the country comes to the school. Every talented student comes here. And we need to draw on the best talent, on the richness that our academic program offers. We need to ensure that students find success at our university so that they can leverage their experience at Wits to make a meaningful contribution to society. The current technological changes, accelerators that we're witnessing, have had a transformational impact on how we work, live, and learn. And now we have to think about how we develop future skills for the next generation of students and knowledge systems that are needed to manage these exponentials. We must be at the forefront in developing graduates who will find solutions to the pressing problems of the 21st century. And some of these problems are yet unknown. This will require us to promote integration across disciplines and support continuous learning through online courses and flexible learning models. We must view this as an opportunity to harness digital transformation to be at the cutting edge of excellence in teaching and learning. But let's not forget, address the digital divide that overburden our society. I will add, and I'll emphasize this, that this university is unapologetically elite, but not elitist. It will continue attracting the brightest students of all backgrounds, irrespective of affordability, who are determined and driven to succeed. We are a university that sees itself as a beacon of inclusivity and diversity. A student who comes to Wits comes to be challenged at this challenging large hadron collider of ideas. Our graduate will be equipped with skills, both hard and soft, that are required to make them globally competitive. The core tradition of a university is to ensure that people from all different environments, backgrounds, racial backgrounds, religions, ideologies, and genders emerged equipped with skills to navigate the complexities of the global world and to contribute towards addressing challenges. These are citizens who break away from their narrow enclaves. The challenge of getting a net to address you is that they tend to become clumsy. The citizens who are beacons of what is possible, citizens who can inspire their communities and the world. We must continue with this tradition and push beyond our latitude. Our students come and go. Vice-Chancellors come and go. But the academy remains forever. In the words of the Gaurimas Egitu, Vivat Academia, the academy lives forever. I kneel at the altar of academic excellence. Wits is home to some of the best scholars in the world, nearly 30 of whom are rated as world leaders by our National Research Foundation, and as well as hosting several globally respected research entities. We are recognized as one of the premier centers of thought on the continent. I believe that you have the chance, using our distinct expertise and location and context, to lead from the perspective of the global South. We must harness our local and global connections to conduct research that produces real innovation. I believe that in years to come and decades to come, this is a bold statement. We will conduct research in this university that will emerge and be Nobel Prize winning. That is our moonshot. And the work starts now. Africa needs to produce its own scholars and produce its own knowledge. And we need to understand and leverage our local context and contribute to original knowledge of the global academy. We must aspire to create the African Academy of the future. It means nurturing our postgraduate students, as the minister said, early career academics, to ensure that you have a diverse and broad pipeline of future leaders. The main focus area of the next few years will be in developing that profile as part of our broader transformative project of the university. These diverse backgrounds, both in background, racial and gender background, and also in the knowledge background, will contribute immensely to the global challenge. It's not about producing knowledge, writing articles and rankings, but it's how we now harness that knowledge and convert that into innovative technologies, policies that have societal impact. With the significant financial difficulties facing the higher educational sector around the globe, there is an opportunity to think of how we can do our research and innovation as a way to ensure financial sustainability for the intellectual project. We cannot rely on government alone. Our resources are limited. We need to be innovative in how we solve our problems. And I think we must take advantage of our position in the economic heartland of this continent and create a perfect space to experiment and innovate. That is a microcosm of the society we live in. Some of the challenges facing the world today, like inequality, migration, and so on and so forth, are right on our doorstep. And we should use our knowledge, research, and expertise to address these issues. We are a city university. Wits is as much a part of Joburg's DNA as Joburg is part of our DNA. We have the energy, the strength, and resilience of Africa's greatest city. We have, for the last 100 years, played a pivotal role in shaping our city and nation by addressing current challenges and innovating for our future. We need to create an ecosystem for knowledge generation, innovation, and entrepreneurship where our students and academics can thrive by turning Braamfontein and this city into a vibrant hub. Braamfontein must be a space that is a creative and innovative arc of Johannesburg and the Global South. If we do this, and if we do it right, we'll create a hub that will spawn Africa's own tech companies that will grow and multiply to scale. We can't do this alone. We need to partner with the city, the province, and government, national government, and the business community to achieve this goal and support each other towards the economic development of our country. We cannot import tech anymore. We need to produce our own tech. Beyond our city and our country, we must also be at the center of excellence for resourceful solutions of our continent. We must ensure that this continent of Africa plays a key role in shaping knowledge production and fostering innovation, rather than being seen as a recipient of knowledge and products like we've seen with the COVID vaccines and other developments that have taken place in the global north. I think we have all it takes, the people, the resilience, the drive, the hunger to develop these big ideas. I'd like to quote from a great Wits alum, Robert Sobukwe, who is now memorialized on this building. Prof, as he was called, said the following: "The wheel of progress revolves relentlessly, and all nations of the world take their turn in the field glass of human destiny. Africa will not retreat, Africa will not compromise, Africa will not relent, Africa will not equivocate, and she will be heard. Remember Africa," close quote. Our mission at Wits is to be a place where thousands of highly talented children from all backgrounds have an opportunity to thrive and excel and push the boundaries of excellence beyond their latitude. They will emerge as leaders who will provide light in a moment of darkness. Finally, let me close, it's been said I like history, with lessons of history. I like to repeat as I close that big moments are not achieved. Big achievements are not realized in a moment of plenty. One would argue, that's debatable, that one of the greatest spurts of human genius across possibly many civilizations happened between the period 500 and 400 BC, thereabouts. This was a period after the Greco-Persian Wars. You've seen movies with Leonidas and the Spartans, that movie, that was around that period. And a period before the start of a Greek civil war led by the city-states Sparta and Athens. So it was a very, very short capsule of history. But during that interbellum, the seeds of democracy were planted in Plato's Republic. It was a period in which the philosophies of reason and deep thought were developed, and they did reverberate through the works of Aristotle and others. Now, the fundamental idea of the citizen and the state emerged during that period. It was an era of human creativity, as we've witnessed with our performance here, that spawned the plays of Aeschylus, Euripides, Sophocles, and Aristophanes that have inspired us. We've all witnessed the tragedies that have played themselves out through modern soap operas that continue to enthrall us to this day, and the comics that have been doing political parody about 2,400 years before our own Trevor Noah regaled us on The Daily Show. It was during that period of dire straits that great and controversial ideas were allowed to flourish. Diamonds are not created under conditions of comfort. Diamonds, as geologists will know, come under conditions of great pressure deep in the bowels of the earth. I do believe that this pressure cooker called Wits will allow for the flourishing of great ideas that will lead this continent into the era of innovation, the era of change, the era of growth, and a future beyond our generations that is brighter than 1,000 suns. For that to be realized, Ladies and gentlemen, we need to think big and push beyond our imaginary frontiers in our quest to achieve this great goal. For that, I'd like you to join us together in achieving what I would call the transcendence of latitudes. With that, we will do this country, this continent, and broader humanity, in our small way, a great service. I thank you, Madam Chancellor. Thank you all.